UFC 282 Jan Blachowicz versus Magomed Ankalaev. I'm not going to go over every fight on this card. I'm just going to go over the ones I think are exciting and a couple of money line bets that I like, or fighters that I think are going to win the fight at least. These aren't going to be in any order. They're just going to be random. So I guess here we go. This first fight I'm pretty excited about. It's Alexander the Great versus Billy Quarantillo. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Is 16-4 right now. Alexander the Great's 13-5. Alexander the Great is actually a pretty exciting fighter. The first fight I actually ever saw him in was against Beneil Dariush, and he knocked him out fairly quickly, if I remember correctly. This is years ago, so you know, I think it was like round one right away, for like within the first few minutes, maybe even 30 seconds, maybe not that bad. It's hard to remember. I watched so many fights. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't really have a bet for you guys on that one. You know, that's a fight that I'm really excited about. That's going to be a good fight, you know. So yeah, that's just a fight to look out for, I guess. Next fight we got Jairzinho Rozenstruik versus Chris Daukaus. Chris Daukaus just lost his last fight to Curtis Blades, who's normally known as a wrestler. But he lost by TKO in the beginning of round 2. So yeah, that's not looking too good for him. Rozenstruik's a striker also, and I think Rozenstruik's going to come out on top on that fight. I think Rozenstruik money line would be the bet to make, if anything, for that fight. Next up, we got here. So this is cool. This guy's considered the youngest fighter in the UFC right now. Raul Rosas Jr. He's 6-0. He just won his Dana White Contender Series fight. He's fighting Jay Perrin, 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 I guess it would be. Perrin is 10-6. Coming in with more experience, but not that impressive. And plus, UFC gets these not underdogs, but gets these guys that are hyped up and exciting, and people want to watch them. You know, people like McGregor, O'Malley. You know, so their first couple of fights aren't really like household names, as they should be. You know, nobody should be fighting an Anderson Silva for their first or second fight. But that being said, I really think the Rosas Jr. guy obviously is stouted to win, but he's minus 400. That's not a good bet. Minus 400, those odds are horrible. A better bet would be that the fight's not going to go to distance. And if you wanted, you could even probably bet that the fight's going to be under a round and a half. I wouldn't go that far. A fight's a fight. Anything can happen, you know. But I would say that the fight doesn't go the distance. That's a good bet for that fight. Next up, we got here Bryce Mitchell versus Topura. I don't even know how to pronounce the guy's first name, so I'm not going to try. Topura is 12-0, which is really impressive. Bryce Mitchell's coming in at 15-1. Bryce Mitchell's the underdog in this fight. They think that Topura guy is going to win. That's not what I think. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's really good, and I could be wrong here, but I'm going to go ahead and take the underdog in Bryce Mitchell here. Bryce Mitchell's the only other guy in the UFC to have a twister submission next to, I believe, Korean Zombie over Leonard Garcia was the first twister submission. But yeah, so I think Bryce Mitchell as the underdog is a good fight. Bryce just fought Edson Barbosa, who was considered at one point one of the... Sorry about the glare there. You guys probably like, we need a glare. But it's either glare or like horrible lighting and you can't see me. So I think glare is unfortunately the way to go. Maybe we can like get the glare to disappear some. Not really. I don't know. Maybe we can figure something out here, right? It's not as bad if I do that. But now only half of me's lit up. I don't know. I'm sorry. Sorry about the glare. Anyway, Bryce knocked down Edson Barbosa was, like I said, considered one of the best strikers in UFC. And Bryce got all up in his face, landed a left hand, dropped him, then dominated him on the ground, which is impressive. I knew he would, well, I didn't know. I figured he would win that fight being the better wrestler, but to get in Barbosa's face and drop him it really raised an eyebrow. It was impressive. So, and he was an underdog then too, if I remember correctly. So I'm gonna go ahead and say Bryce Mitchell again as the underdog. Not that Topir is no good. He's, like I said, he's 12-0. I'm pretty sure if I remember his last fight, he got hurt and then ended up winning by knockout. Anyway, next we got here Paddy Pimblett, 19-3 versus Jared Gordon, who is 19-5. Paddy Pimblett's the favorite right now. Like I said earlier about the Rosas Jr. guy, UFC gets these guys that they want to hype up and have do well, and I get it, obviously. Honestly though, Paddy's last fight, striking wise, wasn't that impressive. He fought I don't remember the guy's name, but that guy's more touted as a wrestler, so I thought he would dominate the guy in the stand-up, and from what I remember is he swung a lot that didn't really land and was kind of crazy and wild about it. And the other guy was able to counter, The other guy landed some good counters before they went on the ground, and Paddy ended up getting a body triangle, which trapped the guy's arm. The guy's arm was stuck down here in the body triangle, and Paddy went for a rear naked choke. My elbow's all bruised. So what happens when you throw a bunch of elbows. Bosh. Anyway, Paddy trapped his arm with that arm triangle, and his arm was all stuck, and then got a rear naked choke. He couldn't defend the choke, If his arm was stuck down here, he only had one hand to try and stop the choke. It just didn't happen. He got strangled. Paddy's fighting Jared Flash Gordon. Flash Gordon's 19-5. I would say Paddy moneyline, honestly. The bet there, I don't know that the fight's going to go the distance, or it's going to end early, or when it's going to happen, if it's going to happen. All I know is I think Paddy's going to win the decision. So I'm going to go Paddy moneyline. Next fight, we got here Billy. Oh, we already talked about Billy Quarantino, didn't we? And Alexander Hurd. Sorry about that. So this next fight here is just a fight I'm excited about. Something to look out for here. Jaquin Buckley fights Chris Curtis. Jaquin Buckley is 15-5, and Chris Curtis is 29-9. That's actually a lot of fights for Chris Curtis. Chris Curtis is very seasoned, as you will. Buckley's only got 20 fights in total, 15-5 losses. Chris Curtis, though, 29-9. That's impressive. Everybody, of course, if you're a fan of Ultimate Fighting, we all remember Buckley's crazy spinning back kick, Ninja Turtle, whatever that was. That was insanity. He went for a body kick. And I don't even remember who that was. The guy caught his kick, and just held on to it for a little too long. If you catch someone's kick, do something with it. Lift their foot up over their head. If 9 times out of 10, your foot's up over your head, what are you gonna do? Backwards, right? So yeah, that guy's gonna fall onto his head. Anything, throw a leg kick, trip the guy, let go of the leg, back away, throw a right hand. He just, whatever it was, he held on to it for a little too long, which let Buckley do this crazy spinny wheel kick and hit the guy right in the face. It was insanity. It was still one of the best knockouts to this day. I don't really, like I said, I would say, I like, because of that knockout, everyone's going to want this guy to win and do well, But honestly, I really don't have a prediction for this fight. Like I said, Chris Curtis, 29-9, he's more seasoned, he's been in the octagon more, he's been, around fighting more. It's just a really good fight to look out for, Next fight here, these are just, the next couple of mentions here are just people to look out for. Fights that are going to be exciting here. Edmund Sabajian is fighting. He's, I'm pretty sure he was Ronda Rousey's, not like student, but she used to talk him up, and Edmund this, Edmund that is going to be the next thing, yada yada. I think Edmund lost one of his last fights against Derek Brunson, but Brunson does that to people. Brunson's like a gatekeeper, and they kind of use him to gauge how good people are, I feel like, and Edson didn't pass the test, unfortunately. But it is a good fight, It's a good. Anytime Edmund fights, it's a good time. It's a good thing to look out for. He's entertaining. He's exciting. We also got Darren Till fighting. Everyone knows Darren Till, right? He was undefeated until he fought Woodley for the belt, and I think was able only to throw like 1 or 2 strikes, and I don't even think they landed in that fight. It was insane. It was crazy. Woodley completely washed him out. It was a good fight though, and then after that Woodley went on to do nothing. Very impressive. Unfortunately, sorry. Man, I liked Woodley too. That sucks. Anyway, and then he got knocked out by Paul. Why? Oh my goodness. Woodley, what happened to you? What happened to you, Regis? No, just kidding. Yeah. Till's fighting. That's an exciting fight. Let's always watch out for Till. Till's he's got a really sharp left hand. He's tall, lanky, good boxing, nice striking. Santiago Ponzinibbio also fights. That'd be a really good fight to look out for. Like I said, I really don't have a prediction for his fight either. I mean, I guess I would pick him over the other guy. Maybe, maybe not. Honestly, I wouldn't. Don't take that as a betting advice. I just like Ponzinibbio, so it's a good fight to look out for. See, I pretty much went over everything that I was looking forward to this weekend. Those fights are really good. Things to look out for. Like I said, Alexander Hernandez is going to be an exciting fight against Billy Quarantino. Buckley, Chris Curtis is going to be really entertaining. Edmund's always fun to watch. Darren Till's always fun. Santiago Ponzinibbio is always really fun. And then, like I said, for money line bets, I got Rosenstark beating Chris Dawkins. Rosas Jr., I said to bet on him is not really that good of a bet. Like I said, it's minus. I don't know if I mentioned this. He's minus 400. But fight not to go the distance is the bet to go on Raul Rosas Jr. versus Jay Perrin. Bryce Mitchell is an underdog. I like him over Topira. Topira's really good, strong, I just kind of feel like something's telling me Bryce, I like Bryce a lot too, so every once in a while you get these guys, you want to back, and I don't see myself going against Bryce. I just can't. Bryce is my boy at this point, Let's go, buddy. No, just kidding. But, no, for real, though. These are going to be my picks for Saturday. Rosenstark, Raul Rosas Jr. versus Jay Perrin not to go to the distance, and Bryce as an underdog. And, and Patty Pimlet. Patty Pimlet also as a money line bet. So we got, one last time here. Rosenstark, Patty Pimlet, Bryce Mitchell as an underdog, and the Rosas Jr. fight to go to not go the distance. UFC 282 Balkovich versus Magomed Ankalaev. See you guys there, man.